Good evening, my name is Jordan Roberts and you're watching What's On, your daily dose of what's happening in the Sheffield area. On the show, we'll be chatting to people who make things happen and keeping you updated on the shows and events and generally exploring what keeps the Steel City going strong. Make sure you join us every day after 6 p.m. on Sheffield Live. In tonight's programme, we'll be speaking with local author Phil Elwell, about his book A Duke's Tale, a memoir of his life and 31 years of service in the army. And Monica Mistry checks out the Sheffield Makers Fair that was held at St Mary's Church last weekend. With all that to look forward to, let's take a look at who's taking the mic in our live music section. Why not enjoy an evening with Sheffield-based pianist Tim Horton tonight at the Crucible Theatre studio? Mr. Horton will be playing the complete cycle of the Beethoven piano sonatas and answering questions from the audience. Tickets are £11 and the show starts at 7:15. Also taking the stage, a London-based band, The Zokes. The five-piece contemporary rock group are playing at Corporation later. Tickets are £6 in advance and the show starts at 7. And coming up this Friday, head down to the Old Crown Inn to catch Laughing Gravy, a local Sheffield five-piece who are known for doing great covers of pop and rock and for serving up lashings of banter alongside. Entry is free and the bar will be open till late. That should be enough for classical fans and rock and rollers alike. Let's move on to arts and culture. With the largest arts collective outside of London, let's see what's the crack up north. Your last chance to see the fantastic Playing for Time as the show comes to an end this Saturday. An emotional story about a young lady in a Jewish death camp who finds solace and survival in the camp orchestra. Tonight, tomorrow and Saturday are the last three shows, so make sure you don't miss it. Tickets start at £16 and are showing at the Crucible. The visionary Ivo van Hove directs a stunning production of the Miller's tragic masterpiece, A View from the Bridge, playing at the Showroom Cinema tomorrow night at 7:30 and again on Sunday at 3:15. Broadcast from London's West End, the National Theatre's live features Mark Strong as he confronts the American dream in the dark and passionate tale. And lastly, a heads up for next Wednesday, 8th of April, when a new exhibition starts at Bank Street Arts. A Tree Line by Maureen Cooper presents a retrospective collective of her art, all inspired by the National Forest area of Leicestershire and Derbyshire. Looking at the changes to the forest over time, she aims to show people the importance of the small details in altering our experience of the world. The exhibition will run until the 2nd of May. That's all for arts and culture, but continuing in a similar theme, it's now time to take a look at the Sheffield Makers Fair. St Mary's Church is a haven for creativity last weekend, with all kinds of locally produced arts and craft on sale. Our very own Monica Mistry went along to see what's happening.
My name's Lindsay, I'm part of the events team at St Mary's, and today we've got the Sheffield Makers Fair, and it's the second fair that we've run in this vein. As customers, there are some amazing things today. We've got wooden crafts, hand-carved bowls. We've also got children's wooden toys. There are sculpture by Eve Olsen. That's some amazing stuff, so I'm wanting to go round and purchase a few things later. We've got lots of jewellery, handmade silver jewellery from various different stalls. There are also lots of prints, some beautiful hand-drawn fabric printings. There's also photographs, artwork, that kind of thing. So there's a big choice, a big range.
So there's something for everyone.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So how long's the event been going on for?
Well, St Mary's usually do a vintage and craft market. They've been running for about 4 years and they're every couple of months. But last year we decided to do the Sheffield Makers Fair, which is a bit more specific. There's no vintage, it's just all handmade craft items. And the first one was in December. That went down so well that we've decided to run 2 a year from now on. So this is the second one.
So what made you decide to start this event?
Well, really, the reason that the event started in the first place was to bring some more money and some more income into St Mary's, because We work as a conference centre and a catering centre, but we also, all the profits that we make go into the community work, because we've got a great community team that are called Time Builders, and any profits that we make, sort of from £1 entry on the door, it all goes back into the community works for Sheffield and local people.
So where do the artists come from?
Like I said, mostly they're Sheffield based, but we do have some from Rotherham and the wider Yorkshire area. What we do is we'll sort of advertise that we're going to have a show, and then we ask stall holders to send in an application, and then we go through all those applications and pick a really good mixture and a good range so that customers will find something different. So.
And what's coming up in the future?
Well, we've got a few things. The next Vintage and Craft Market is on the 23rd of May, and they're really well attended events. We usually have about 800 people, sometimes more, come into that. So you can get yourself some real bargains and some really unusual kind of gifts and things like that. Then after that, we're having a new event, which we're really excited about, which is going to be the St Mary's Village Fete, which is going to be like a big family event. We're going to have animals, we're going to have fairground rides, there's going to be food, music, bands and stalls as well. And that's coming up on the 27th of June. So that's a really good event to look out for.
I'm James Sharp. I'm a textile artist. I print on fabric and create collages, which I applique to my books, my aprons, my bags, and any surfaces that takes my fancy.
My name's Jill Ray. My business is Jill Ray Landscapes, and I make prints.
Right, I'm Meg Dixon. I'm from wool gathering, because that's what I do really. I take wool and do all kinds of things with it. So from pictures with raw fleece to buying designer yarns like this and making nice things. So I enjoy combining techniques and different yarns and fleece to create something a bit different.
And what do you think is the best thing about the Sheffield Makers Fair?
Well, it's the variety is so good. There's some wonderful crafts here, and they're all different. That people are expressing their own individuality, I think, and that's why I think it's lovely to come and to meet other people who are being creative in their lives.
Oh, the variety of work. In fact, it pulls in loads of people, loads of customers, and it's just a really easy setting, and the food is lovely.
When's the next Sheffield Makers Fair?
We're going to have the next Sheffield Makers Fair. The confirmed date hasn't been decided yet, but it's going to be in September time.
So something to look out for.
It is something to look forward for.
And that was Monica Mistry talking with the organisers and creative producers of the Sheffield Makers Fair. Keep an eye on St Mary's website to find out the date for the next fair in September. Now let's move on to you, the people, in our... The Sharrow Lantern Carnival is on again this year with the theme Life on Earth. Grab your tape, PVA and children and head down to one of the workshops where you can create a lantern to feature in the carnival. It's free and it's on every Saturday and Sunday, 1 while 5 at the Sharrow Old Junior School. The Queen is coming to Sheffield. That's right, Her Majesty is popping up to distribute the Royal Maundry to 89 men and 89 women from across the South Yorkshire in a special service at the Sheffield Cathedral. The visit will be the first time in the Royal Maundry service has taken place in Sheffield, and you'll have the opportunity to see the Queen and Duke outside the cathedral and along the Fargate tomorrow, 11 while 3. And make sure you tune into Friday's What's On 2, when our team will show you what it was like. Gillian Creasy will be leading a discussion tomorrow as part of the festival debate. After working as a GP in Sheffield for 25 years and being a city councillor for 10 years, Dr. Creasy will be talking about the changes that are needed to improve health and healthcare. That's at the Cathedral, United Reformed Church, tonight at 7. Next up, let's get physical as we move on to sport. First, a reminder that there's a newcomers bell aerobics session tomorrow evening at the Montgomery Theatre Studio. Bell aerobic is a belly dancing for fitness, and if you feel like shaking your stuff, head over there for £6.15. This special taster session is just £2.50, so why not join Natasha for an evening of great music and fun choreography. Sheffield FC play at home against Loughborough Dynamo in an Evo Stick League First Division South match. The team have lost their last few games this league, so let's hope they can do better this Saturday at 3 p.m. Grab your feather boas and head down to the Chapeltown Community Centre tomorrow for burlesque and cabaret dance classes with the Velvet Burlesque. You can attend 8 while 10. Classes are £10 and run every week. Now on tonight's programme, we're talking to author Phil Elwell about his new book, A Duke's Tale. Mr. Elwell, thank you very much for joining us in the studio today. Firstly, I noticed on the book that we have, in brackets, the word ENA. Tell us about that nickname.
Well, I got the nickname when I joined the army in 1970 at Shorncliffe. A platoon sergeant of mine, when I was a young 15-and-a-half-year-old, said I used to talk a lot, and said I reminded him of Ina Sharples, and that name has stuck with me now ever since.
Now, the book starts off with your journey in Shorncliffe in 1970, like you just said. Can you talk us through your thoughts during this time?
Yes, I'd always wanted to join the army as a kid, and coming from the Barnsley area, then I got on the train in Leeds station and was a little bit apprehensive, but the long journey down to Shorncliffe worried me a little bit. However, I was meeting a friend who had also joined the army. I'd met at the recruiting office, and we travelled down there together.
Lovely. Your 31 years has taken you to many places. Can you tell us about a few of these?
Yeah, all soldiers will go around the world. In the modern army these days, the postings to sunshine places are dwindling, sadly. But I did stints in Germany, in Gibraltar, which were very good for the family when I had young children. And later on in my army service to places like Africa, teaching, and in Latvia. I've been to other countries with the army and playing sport, which played a big part in my life during my 31 years.
So what brought you to write the book in the first place?
Well, due to all the sport that I did in the army and carrying heavy weights on your back and exercising regularly, then my knees wanted replacing. And I went in the hospital about 2 years ago and had my knees replaced. Consequently, I was on then 48 hours, wrong. I was on a long time, 24 weeks off sick, which somebody said to me, well, why don't you pen a book? And which I did.
Good idea. Now, the book is an emotional journey through your life. What was the hardest part for you to share?
I think my family life. I was married and divorced 3 times. I blame the army for a couple of the marriages. I was always away in the height of the Troubles in the 70s and the 80s in Northern Ireland, for instance. And the army does take families, take you away from families, and the divorces with the children was probably the most difficult period in my 31 years.
Well, we appreciate you for sharing it with us. On a lighter note, out of all the funny stories that are in the book, what would be your favourite out of them?
There's lots and lots of funny stories. When soldiers get together, there's a little bit of banter in uniform. But I recall one, which is in the book, when in Northern Ireland, in a very difficult situation, where we stopped a guy on a roadblock, asked him his name, and the platoon sergeant at the time radioed back in and said, check a Giles pie. And confirmed Giles pie, yes, Giles pie. And after lots of looking in the documents and looking on the computers and looking in the wanted and suspect list, they came back with the address saying, confirm Giles pie, we believe there's a man called Gillespie at this address. And rather than say Gillespie, it called him Giles Pye, which throw everybody off the scent, really. So that was one of the funny stories. But there's many, many funny stories which comes up depending which theatre of operations you're working in and how serious you are actually working within that time frame. So there's lots of stories, and it's probably too many to tell, really.
Well, it's definitely worth a look through then, isn't it? Tell us about the 10 years of teaching that you've done since then.
Yeah, my last 10 years, after my second divorce, the Army didn't see kindly to this, the rank that I was. At the time I was a warrant officer. So I applied for what's called loan service. And once you get on the loan service list, then you bounce from country to country. So I went to Africa for 2 years teaching. I went to Latvia for a couple of years, Cyprus, doing teaching around the world with the countries who would ask the British for assistance in training their armies. And that was called the BMAT, the British Military Assistance Training Teams.
Well, thank you very much for joining us in the studio today, Mr. Elwell. This book is available on Facebook. Just search for A Duke's Tale, that's correct, isn't it?
Yep.
And you'll be able to find it just there. Now then, we have to move on to our last part of tonight's programme, our social media roundup. It's a bit of a different one this time around, because What's On has been contacted directly. So it's a bit of a mix-up for this Wednesday's show. We've received a message from the Sheffield's Moustache Society saying, "Our profound thanks goes to Jordan Roberts for promoting the ancient practice of moustache cultivation." It's the certificate right here. His magnificent moustache has done wonders for our cause and would therefore like to offer him this certificate of honour in his impressive facial hair growth. I have the certificate right here, as you can see. It's a great honour. I'd really like to thank the Society enough. Unfortunately, this is in fact the last time you'll be seeing this moustache because I'm planning to shave it off tomorrow. But thank you anyway, and I hope this won't put off any potential moustache growies. You must embark on what is a unique relationship between man and hair. So that's it for tonight's programme. If you have an event you'd like to tell us about, please don't hesitate to contact us. If you've got any more certificates as well, do send them in to whatson@sheffieldlive.org, or you can contact us on Twitter @SheffieldLive or #What'sOnSheffield. Next on Sheffield Live, we have today's news programme. Tomorrow, we'll be back, same time, same place. Thanks for watching, Sheffield. Good night.